Welcome to InsidePTI, weekly videos designed to get you the trial information you want, agronomy explanations you need, and insights that'll set you up for success on your farm. Hey, you know, we are just about ready to start harvesting here at the PTI farm, and that gets me thinking about tillage. And one of the most successful forms of tillage we've had here at the PTI farm is strip till. Now, strip till hasn't been easy. It's posed its challenges throughout the years, mainly with Mother Nature and getting soils that are fit. The last 2 years we've had late planted corn, which led to late harvests, and it's been very difficult to make strips because we're getting the crop out in November and December, and it's just hard to get everything fit moisture-wise to really make good strips. And so one of the things that I've always talked to growers about in regard to strip till has been, I think we need to be flexible and have some options. And with strip till, I think we need a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. Now, I think plan A would be everything goes as planned. You go out in the fall and we've got beautiful soil conditions. We make a beautiful strip and we don't do anything till next spring. We bring the planter in and we plant right into that strip. But that's plan A. What if weather doesn't work on our side? What if we have some heavy rain events and we get some erosion in the strips? One of the things that we need to do as far as a plan B goes potentially is maybe freshening strips in the spring. And then maybe lastly, maybe we just have to restart and do conventional tillage, come in with a finisher and work everything up, start from scratch and then plant into it. But we ran into something here this summer that I thought was really interesting in regard to this plan A, plan B, plan C, and that's that strip till bar behind me. And this is a strip till bar that has 3 different options. And I want to take you over to the strip till bar and show you the different row units. This unit is actually called a yield till strip till unit. And this is made by Ag Guru Machinery. And it was just released to the public just a few short weeks ago. And this bar has the 3 options that I talked about, plan A, plan B, and plan C. Plan A is this. We have a traditional deep shank. Okay, and I like to run my deep shanks, 10 inches deep to, drive through compaction layers, lift and fracture, get rid of some of that compaction I'm making with the tractors, the combine, the auger carts, what have you. But that's in dry conditions, so that's normally right after the combine leaves the field. We get in and we make our strips with this deep shank. But what if we get into some wetter conditions? Let's say with a later harvest potentially, we get into November and all of a sudden the daylight starts getting a little bit shorter. We start losing out on some of the heat and we just don't dry out very well in some of these soils. So we stay wet. We need to have another option, and this bar has it, and that's plan B. All right, plan B is if we're wet and we don't want to run that deep shank that we talked about with plan A. That would just smear and develop some air pockets. So in wetter soils, this is a vertical till option. So this is where we're bringing in these coulters to just do a little bit of vertical tillage for us. Again, shallow tillage in those wetter conditions. This also is really neat because this gives us another option to potentially do spring strip freshening. So a lot of times during the winter we can have erosion, we get water running down the strips, and we need to come in and repair the strips, regenerate the strips. And this could actually work dual purpose in the spring as a strip freshener. So a really neat feature here, again, all on this same bar. Now, what if we get cold? We get into December, we get some frost, 1 to 2 inches of frost in the ground. Maybe we transition away from this plan B into what we're calling plan C. All right, plan C, we get into a little bit of frost and we've got airway paddles. Again, these would be heavy enough to get through that frost and still make a pretty decent strip for us. So really nice options on this bar. And one of the things that we want to do with this bar is we want to run this in the sandbox. Right now we've got planters running in the sandbox. When we get them out, we're going to get this strip till running here in September and take a look at the kind of strips each one of these make. But I think having the flexibility is pretty important with strip till, just because we have so many different conditions we plant in certain years. Now, one thing I think we ought to look at is the rolling baskets on the back. Now, these aren't traditional baskets. These are Lewiston wheels or Lewiston type wheels in the back, and they're going to make a pretty nice finishing touch on that strip, if you will. But all of these row units, the plan A, plan B, plan C, are going to make a wide enough strip. And one of the things I always talk about in strip till, to be successful, we've got to make a wide enough strip. And we go through this example with growers all the time, is how wide should our strip be? And it all depends and how wide your planter row unit is. And you know, the thing with strip till is we're going to make a tillage pass in the fall typically, and then we're going to come back in the spring and set the planter row unit on that strip, and it's got to fit. The row unit has to fit on the strip. So what I'm saying is we got to probably create at least a 10-inch strip with this strip till bar to be wide enough to get the planter to sit on it and actually fit into that tillage layer. Now, the thing is, if your strip is smaller than the 10 inches, now you come in with your planter row unit, you set it on that narrow strip, and the gauge wheels are falling off the strip, okay? You start speeding up, and the 2020 monitor in the cab's going to be yelling at you because your good ride is terrible, because you're getting planter chatter from falling off of that strip. It's just not letting the planter perform like it should. We want good downforce, we want to keep depth, we want good singulation, but if we're, you know, all that planter chatter, we're shaking up and down, it's going to be hard to get that planter to dance like we want it to. So we're hoping that this can make that wide strip for us and do a nice job in the field. We'll get this thing in the field and we'll get some good video on it. We'll do a part 2 of this strip till bar. But right now it looks really interesting, and we're just trying to understand what this bar can do for us. All right, so today's InsidePTI agronomy tip of the day is, you know, sometimes it's all about flexibility and having options, and I just don't like having one option to get a job done. If we have differences in weather, we have differences in soil moisture, texture, things like that, we have to be able to react and kind of overcome, if you will. And this bar is one that I do think gives us some pretty good options and lets us do the job right out in the field. So we're going to evaluate this. Again, we'll bring a part 2 video once we get this thing in the field, and we'll bring that to you. In the meantime, if you've got any questions about anything we talked about today, reach out to any Precision Planting Premier dealer, or you can check us out on our website. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next episode of InsidePTI.